Ladies and gents, we have got a massive Arsenal transfer update. Bukayo Saka signs a new deal. David Ornstein's update regarding Guehi. Is Livramento the next fullback to be joining Arsenal? Diomande and much, much more. We've also got a Newcastle United video coming out later as well today. Make sure you get your likes in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We've hit 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 on videos. So please go down, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and let me know your thoughts. We are only, as it stands, about 30 or 40 away from 88.9k. Now, there'll be a lot of fans today that will be down in the dumps, and a lot of those fans will be still optimistic about the season. I look at Arsenal this way, right? Yes, it wasn't the best performance last night, right? Liverpool did a job on you. They had a game plan, and they stuck to that game plan really, really well. They defended as a unit. They had nothing up front. You know, no Isak, broken leg, no Ekitike, minor injury, and Salah, of course, is at AFCON. They didn't really have a vocal point up front, but they made it incredibly hard to work. I don't really buy into this Arsenal are cowards. Arteta's a coward. He made attacking changes. He brought on Eberechi Eze. He brought on Martinelli. He brought on Jesus. He brought on pretty much all of the attacking options he had off the bench. Lewis Skelly come on as well. I don't really subscribe to this. He's a coward, for instance. But I do think it was nowhere near the levels we've seen Arsenal at home. A point's still a point, and you still remain 6 points clear. Today, there's a lot of news in which Arsenal fans should be happy about. And we're going to start with this. David Ornstein, exclusive. Bukayo Saka agrees new and improved 5-year contract at Arsenal. The 24-year-old international currently at Arsenal until 2027. Fresh terms till the summer of 2031 of being finalised. Deal to recognise wingers standing among Europe's best. So his current contract was scheduled to expire in 18 months' time, June 30th, 2027. That will now expire June 30th, 2031. And that's a statement of intent. And that is what Andrea Berta has done since coming to Arsenal. Gabriel, Wanyeri, Lewis Skelly, Saliba, Odegaard, Saka, David Raya, all of the big guns that Arsenal currently have in and around their squad have signed new and long-term deals. And that basically tells the rest of Europe, if you're interested in taking any of our stars, you're going to have to pay top money because they're pinned down to new and long-term deals, which again also pays the faith back into the players. And I said this a few videos ago about buying into what Arteta and Andrea Berta and what the idea long-term of what the football club want to be, play attacking football, develop young players. Lewis Skelly's come through, Wanyeri's come through, Saka's come through, Max Dowman's come through. You know, there's a lot of talent that Arsenal should be happy about that's coming through their academy. Now, they're not just done there. And this will really piss me off because I've wanted him. I've always said that if Romero leaves, there's the perfect replacement. And it's not necessarily a replacement because he's a better centre-back than Romero. And David Ornstein put this out. Arsenal retain long-held Marc Guehi interest, most likely as summer option. AFC discussing Crystal Palace defender in touch with 25-year-olds camp. Liverpool also won England international at the end of the season. Man City are keen immediately. For me, outside of the big six clubs, outside of the top four, he's the best centre-back in the league. For me, he has everything. He's performed on the big stage for England. You know, we've seen him at Euros, seen him at World Cups. Or we will see him at a World Cup, coming up. We've seen him put in really strong performances for Crystal Palace. He's got the taste for silverware. He's won a Charity Shield. He's won an FA Cup. He is one of the best ball-playing defenders playing out from the back. He can play, I believe he could probably play either side of the centre-backs. You know, he can play in a back three. He can play in a back four. The question will be, is this overkill for Arsenal? Because the lineup that played last night, you've already got Nketiah, you've already got Timber, you've already got Saliba and Gabriel, and all four of those can play centre-back. I think longer term, I think that Arsenal's plan is to put Lewis Skelly into more of a central midfield position, and Nketiah and Calafiori will predominantly be left backs. And I look at, if Gabriel gets injured, you've got Guehi potentially coming in. If Saliba gets injured, you've got Mosquera coming in. If Ben White gets injured, if Timber gets injured, Ben White's there. Now, there is a lot of interest today, according to various sources, that Arsenal are looking at Livramento. We'll come on to that in a minute. But as it stands, Arsenal are the strongest defensive team in the Premier League, the strongest defensive team in Europe. They've only conceded 14 goals in 21 games, which is, at this point, absolutely obscene. Yes, they drew yesterday, but Arsenal are still 6 points clear. Yes, Man City drew, and they should have capitalised on it, but Villa drew as well. You know, you still have to lose 2 games, and City have to win 2 games for you to be ahead. I don't see at this stage, looking at Arsenal's current fixture they've got coming up, looking at Man City's current fixtures coming up, that in the next 4 to 5 games, it's going to be very difficult for City to make those points up. You look at their fixtures, Chelsea away in the Cup, Forest away in the league. They've got, 3 games in 6 days. That's not going to be easy, but you'd imagine they'll play a mixed team against Portsmouth. You may see Madueke, you may see Ethan Nwaneri, you may see Lewis Skelly start, you may see academy players coming in. Then they'll play a strong team against Chelsea. I think Chelsea right now are in the pits. I don't really trust Chelsea under this regime of Clearlake and Blueco, etc., to go and do the right things on the pitch. They're more in terms of bringing in young academy players, bringing in young players that have got higher sell-on values. And then I look at the Forest game. Forest are fighting for their lives. They may have beaten West Ham, but I don't think they'll beat this Arsenal team. Then they're playing Inter Milan side. At that point, it doesn't really matter if they win or lose the game, because as it stands, they're the best team in the Champions League in terms of points tally. And then they play Manchester United. And unfortunately for Arsenal, that game is at the Emirates. Then they play Karat Almaty. Again, that game's at the Emirates. And then they play Leeds United away. And then when you get into the tougher games they've got to play next month, they're all at the Emirates. Everton at the Emirates. Chelsea at the Emirates. Sunderland at the Emirates. Chelsea again at the Emirates. It doesn't matter if they play us home or away, because we're that bad at the moment. So things, for me, will get better for them. It's only just one at this point, one draw. It's not a bad, position to be in. Today, Arsenal have been again linked with Livramento. Arsenal are monitoring Tino Livramento ahead of a summer transfer window. An asking price of more than 60 million was touted last year, though Livramento will only have 2.5 years left on his contract come the end. Now, I really like Livramento. I think he's one of the better right-backs in the league. I really like that full-back partnership Newcastle have got with Livramento and Hall. I only believe this deal will happen is if Ben White goes and they want to bring in a full-back who can add more competition to that spot, which currently is filled up with Timber. That, for me, is the only way I see that happening. Now, this isn't the first time. This isn't the second time. This is the third time they've now been linked with Livramento. And I personally believe there may be more to this story than meets the eye. A lot of the big Arsenal accounts are now saying Tino Livramento to Arsenal. Discuss your thoughts and feelings. He's a very good fullback. When you look at him, his profile, in an international, but only played 13 times this season in the Premier League due to his injuries. Newcastle have put Miley in at right back, who has done relatively well. But in terms of his profile, his current contract expires the 30th of June, 2028. He has played in at right back and left back, which does suit Mikel Arteta, because he loves a versatile player. He's roughly worth 40 million euros according to transfermarkt.co.uk. Contract expires 2028.
He's made 3 appearances for England now. I like Livramento. I really, really do. I think he's got a lot of potential to be a top fullback. You know, still young, still got a lot to prove. I only think this deal will happen, like I said, if a Ben White does leave. Now, Diomande again has been linked to Arsenal. Lots of people talking about, where does he currently sit in terms of a transfer. Now, Florian Plettenberg has said that Bayern Munich are heavily interested, as well as Arsenal, as well as Spurs, Real Madrid. There's a number of teams looking at him. This is the report I put out the other day, and I'm going to go for it again. Any deal is expected to be the summer only, with Leipzig unwilling to sell this month, and a fee of around 100 million euros is likely required. PSG and Manchester United are also monitoring the situation. Diomande recently scored for the Ivory Coast. Now, why I'm talking about that is because the Ivory Coast are playing today. They're playing tomorrow against, I believe it is it tomorrow or is it Monday they're playing? I want to say, I know there's games on today that Mali are playing Senegal. I think it might be tomorrow. Yeah, it is tomorrow. They're playing Egypt, and that is where, you look at the front line. He's predominantly played out on the left-hand side, which is the area Arsenal want to target. For me, again, there's lots of things about Diomande that lots of clubs should be, interested in. 8 goal contributions in 10 starts, which is very, very good. 7 goals in 16 games for Leipzig now. Can play right wing, can play left wing. Contract expires June 30th, 2030. Scored and got man of the match against Burkina Faso. So look, if it's going to happen, it's most likely the summer, according to The Athletic, but don't rule out anything this month. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. I'm out.